You know, we live in a world that is pretty much a commodity world. Most insurance brokers can bring you a good piece of paper with good terms and conditions. What value do you bring over and above that? You know, we talk about being interdependent on each other. You know, we're a very independent company, but being interdependent doesn't mean you lose your independence. It just means you're better together. But what makes us wonderful, what makes us so special are our people. You know, I don't care what organization you're a part of. You're only as good as your people. And I will absolutely put our folks line by line up against anyone in our industry because they care, because they're advocates, because they really, really value what our clients value. And they're proud to be a part of a company like IOA because everybody here actually own a piece of IOA. They're here for the long haul, they care, and they know we value them. You know, a lot of things that we do in our business are transactional, of course, like any business. But we want our clients, we strive for our clients to have a transformational experience in the middle of their transactions. You know, what gets me up every day? It's about building something. It's about being different. You know, we're not like everyone else in our industry. We live in an industry, in a world of sameness. And our goal, and what gets me fired up every morning, is to wake up and build something that looks nothing like our entire industry.
I know it's all you've got to just be strong. And it's a fight just to keep it together, together. I know you think that you are too far gone.
And I'd look at the bills and say, I don't know how I'm going to do this.
But hope is never lost. Hope is never lost.
Hello and a very warm welcome back to Terra Nova International Horse Trials. Well, this is Florida's premier equestrian destination, tucked into the picturesque countryside of Mayaca City in the Manatee County. Terra Nova, a welcoming setting for all levels of equestrian competition. The team here have built and designed an unparalleled experience for competitors and horses alike, while keeping safety a top and number one priority. No detail overlooked, with 6 state-of-the-art arenas and a sprawling cross-country course designed by Olympic gold medalist Captain Mark Phillips and built by master craftsman Eric Bull. Some beautiful cross-country fences out there on this course, and we took a look at some of those the other day. Well, with an optimum time of 10 minutes and 16 seconds, the course winds its way around this beautiful parkland, 5,850 metres, and the first combination fence comes at 6A and 6B in the 4-star. A tough track that has been set by Captain Mark Phillips. Lots of twists, lots of turns, and lots of places to lose those valuable seconds. As they come back away from the Cedar Oxer at 15, it's the Terra Nova Barn at 15, and then on to the Root Ball Water log to corner at 19. 20, 21, 22, all on the way home, with a narrow Mim table to Mim corner at 23, the Diamond Brush, the Barn and the Cabin Ditch at 26 to see them home. Well, it's all there. It's all there for the jumping. It's very exciting. It's going to be edge of your seat stuff. We cannot wait, and it is going to be very fast, furious and exciting. And one of the reasons we're here is because of our sponsors, and we couldn't do without our sponsors. And the cross country today for the 4-star is sponsored by Galati Yacht Sales, and we took a look at them. We can only but dream and only but hope. Galati Yacht Sales, title sponsors of the 4-star here this afternoon. Well, Terra Nova is spectacular for more reasons than most, but the rain, it certainly came down. These are pictures from Wednesday and Thursday when the team were out there getting very, very wet. But the facilities are second to none. The going on the cross country is absolutely incredible. It's irrigated, it's drained, and it is just like walking on a bed of air out there on the cross country. Eric Bull has built these fences beautifully. Captain Mark Phillips has designed them spectacularly, and it is going to be a very, very exciting day of cross-country this afternoon, that is for sure. But not only is it top-class and high-class competition, 2, 3, 4-star and the 1-star, we've got national classes that are running as well. And We are very excited to be bringing you all of those. We've seen the 2-star, we've seen the 3-star, 4-star is up next, followed by the 1-star later on, the advanced and the open intermediate as well. But one thing that they're very proud of here at Terra Nova are the facilities and the new golf course that they've just built. And we had a look at that too. Well, what wonderful facilities. You couldn't ask for better. It is unparalleled. It is unrivaled. It is Florida's premier equestrian facility. And if you haven't been, do come. If you can't get here, then have a look at their website. It is phenomenal. And the plans that are in place for the future are very, very exciting indeed. Well, 2 days of dressage for the 4-star. And we'll have a look at that leaderboard. It is Lucien Bellissimo for Great Britain that leads, Tremanton 31.5. Will Coleman for the USA with Diabolo in second, 34.0. Buck Davidson, Errol Goby, third, 34.9. In fourth, Jenny Carras, Trendy Fernhill, 34.9. In equal third, we have 3 ties in the top 10. Fifth, Jessie Phoenix and Freedom GS for Canada. Caroline Pamuchku and HSH Vamonos in sixth, equal on 36.7. Mary Beth Davis on that same score with Imperial Magic. Sarah Kozemplik, Rock Phantom in equal 8th with Jessie Phoenix and Watson GS on 36.9. And rounding out the top 10 for Australia, Emma Klugman and Bronte Beach on 37.1. They were our top 10 after the dressage yesterday and on Thursday. We ran half the field on Thursday, half of them on Friday. And what an exciting 2 days of dressage for Bobby Stevenson, Sandy Phillips and Gretchen Butz. And we start with that first horse, as I said, on the cross country. Will be at 25 to the hour. And the cross country course set. There's an interesting. Now let's just talk about these two guys. These are the two horses on the big fountain as we drive in, Terra and Nova. And Terra Nova, of course, named after the two horses. Terra owned by Hannah, Nova owned by Zach, who are married and just had their first child, nearly 2 months old now. He's very cute. And Terra Nova in Latin means new ground. So it's fascinating that those two horses symbolise, and they've seen so much over the last couple of years, 3 years I think they're into now. So very, very exciting. Those two horses have witnessed everything that has been going on over the last few months. So the 4-star cross country, it is a distance of 5,850 metres with that optimum time of 10 minutes and 16 seconds. It's going to be very, very fast. It's going to be very, very furious. And as we said, the first combination fence doesn't come up until fairly late on in international standards. It will be at fence 6. Usually we'd see a fence, combination fence coming at fence 4. But I'm thrilled to be joined in the commentary. She's just trying to gobble down her lunch. It is Karen O'Connor. Karen, welcome to Terra Nova, and thank you very much for stepping in here.
Spencer, thank you so much for having me. This is just such a fantastic facility. I'm thrilled to be, walking people through this beautiful cross-country course with you.
And you've had a wander around. I mean, I only, because of the rain, I was a bit of an English soppy, and I only walked around twice, but there's so many fences out there. We saw Andrew Palmer. He missed a fence earlier. It's so easy to do. There's such a lot of fences.
Well, it's incredibly beautifully presented today, the course, but there are all of the FEI levels are represented, plus the national classes as well, and the courses weave in and out amongst each other. I know the course builders have, nicely kind of put cross flags so people don't jump the wrong jump and whatnot, but it's difficult. It's a small piece of ground. I know they have ideas of making it a larger track in the years to come, but like you said, the fact that they have only done this for 3 years is really quite incredible. Besides the cross country, the beautiful arena, it's a beautiful setup. The way they've made it so horse friendly is just really remarkable. So we're looking forward to a really fun day today. I think when you have these tight turns and going back and forth with lots of jumps, that the time could be difficult to make. But we'll still see. You got some good riders out there.
Yeah, we have got some good riders, and we've got some very good riders to set us off. Jessie Phoenix, one of the most experienced in the field. She had 3 horses in the 3-star, 3 horses in the 4-star. She'll be going first, middle of the field, and one of the last to go as well. And here you get a great idea. This is a drone shot of the cross-country course. And as Karen said, there are plans to make and extend this place property even bigger. I mean, it's a vast property at the moment, but all of this cross-country used to be marshland, and the work they've done is just incredible.
Well, I talked to Mark Phillips, and he said that the 2 fields that are the beginning and the end of the course, they literally brought in enough topsoil so that they increased the height of the ground by 6 inches or more. 2 feet, he said. And that takes a lot of dirt. And the reason for that is if you go down less than 12 inches, you hit water. So they can't make the ground undulating by going down. They've got to do it by going up.
They've got to go up. Well, our first is away. It is Jessie Phoenix, Jess, with the first of a few rides for her. She rides Freedom GS, coming forwards in this 4-star. Hotly contested 4-star, 35.8 was her dressage, and as she set sail over the first and then the second, which is a little piggy. There's a lot of wild boar here, but they jumped the second, slightly different track than we saw in the 3-star and in the 2-star. They go much further round here, crossing over a few lanes, and then come back to an enormous table at 3.
Speaking of the pig, the wild boar, they actually, you can a little bit see it there beyond Jessie, that there's a small fence line that borders all of the copse of woods to keep the boars off of the course. It's like crazy, isn't it?
It is crazy.
And then if you have enough boar, then maybe you'll come across an alligator too, because there are plenty of those here too.
We've seen the alligators popping their heads up in the lake across from here.
Well, I think the first year I remember that they had one in the Tricaner.
They did.
Then they had to hold the course to get the alligator out of the Tricaner.
Yeah, that's right. And they were actually watching the trot up as well, the first jog. So coming to 4. Ooh,
it's a funny jump there. She started out just a little bit slow, giving this horse a chance to get a nice rhythm, and it looks really good now. He didn't quite come back enough to her so that she had a nice soft ride there. Now she's coming into the Weldon's Wall, or I guess they call it a ditching wall now. They don't call it a Weldon's Wall so much anymore.
Yeah, I know that Hugh Lahore, he's commentating here as well. He has a Weldon Wall still at his, and I think we all like to call it the Weldon Wall because of the ditch and the back brush on it. But it's an enormous fence. It caused a lot of trouble in the 2-star, not so in the 3. And Jessie Torres actually had a very good look at that ditch.
Well, you would think the 4-star level, that if they were ditchy on their progression up the levels, it would have been found out a long time ago. So these horses no ditches, and they don't worry. She'd had no trouble negotiating the very narrow wedge at the bottom of that mound.
Yeah, that was the first combination fence at 6A, 6B. So on they go, and Jessie Phoenix, Freedom GS, head all the way out to the wagon at 7, and then it's the Oxer right at the far end of the course. It's a very narrow Oxer out there.
A lot of the Oxers, Mark's tried to make more room out there, so he's actually made a lot of the front face of them narrow, as is the ditches.
Yeah.
It looks like she's just having a little trouble getting him to come back smoothly. She gets it done, but he just he wants to have the last word, it looks like, a little bit.
Some may say typical male.
I was going to say, if it was a mare, we'd say typical female, wouldn't we? So the horses are reading that. She's the first to go, and we weren't sure if the horses were really going to see that C element where the Oxer is. It's on frangible technology, and it's quite wide and open. And so you really want the horses to put a beat on it and take you there.
Well, disappearing behind the trees as they go on. There's a little bit of a spin out here. Oh, she's had the back rail of that.
Yeah,
it's on a
she sure
yellow
did.
mim too.
See, I've seen, this is the second mim clip I've seen, and it's funny. It doesn't take much to break that mim clip.
No.
It's really interesting. Lauren Lambert, she just barely touched the table in the 3-star, and it came down. So it's kind of very frustrating. And yet the frangible technology is there for a reason. For a reason. It has saved a lot of horses.
We talked about it earlier, the fact that Oxer is on a yellow rather than a red mim as well, that it goes much easier than the yellows.
Yeah, and the two Oxers in the back of the corner, they're very nice Oxers, but it's funny the way they've been flagged. They didn't flag the front face of them, only the back face, so it's quite interesting that Mark chose to do it that way. I wondered why. Now you have to come up and down over this. Again, the horse just draws her a little bit under the jump. Those are always issues that in the last couple of strides you wish they wouldn't do. But she's giving it a great ride.
Well, Charlotte Schickendanz is the owner. She's owned so many of Jessie's horses.
Sure.
And that's just being confirmed that now it will take a bit of time, but...
They're pretty quick with it, though, aren't they?
Yeah, they're very quick.
She's now setting up for yet another wedge on a mound. And that rode really well. She's a very, very experienced rider. It's not unusual for Jess to have 7 or 8 or 9 horses in one day. And she just keeps riding and keeps getting on and off and on and off. And at the same time, she's raising a family. And her husband travels the world handling show cows. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I mean, they're incredibly... I don't know how they do it. I really don't. And like I said, she's got 3 in the 3, 3 in the 4. And you said it's not unlike her to have that many 8, 9 in a day. But she's absolutely incredible. Rode that really nicely.
She rode that really well.
The 2 corners as well. It's a very acute angle, that first one.
It looks like he's starting to settle into the rhythm. He was a little bit abrupt with her in the beginning of the course, but she sorted it out, and now she's able to have him much more adjustable. Now they have to go diagonally across the field, and they're now going into the next field, which will take them down to the water and other wonderful jumps that are down there.
Well, this is the first of the waters, first time they get their feet wet, and they jump directly in, and then just this fence on the way out. And it's a funny fence because you don't know whether you're landing on the grass, in the water.
Yeah. So for those that didn't really see that, it walks a bending 4. It also walks a direct 3, but it's a funny way to get back into the second water, and the rail from the bench is really far out there. So I think we're going to have some very odd footwork getting that done this afternoon. So now we have Jenny Karras. She's riding Summersby. Jenny's had a great season so far. And she and Waylon Roberts, her husband, they run a program and bringing in a lot of good horses and training them. She's a great rider. You can see that she gets it done. She's right there in the middle of the balance of the horse, and the horse's ears are pricked and enjoying the afternoon.
Made that happen down there because he wasn't really taking her as probably she might quite have liked him to at this beginning stage of the course, but very nicely done. Back though to Jesse
That's
Phoenix.
exactly what I was talking to my students about that landing. It's a big drop in, and the shape of that jump, it tends to want to have the horses jump out.
Yep.
And the further out they go, the harder the recovery is. So she sat beautifully for that.
Well, just out on this loop, they go to now jump another combination fence, come back to the white bridge, which is just left of your screen.
Yeah, we can see right there.
And then to the arena fence and back to the water again, which is an A, B, C, D on the way home.
Worldwide we have now these showcases of cross country that are sort of arena cross country, and this is obviously not that small, but it gives you that same feel where you're galloping, turning around, coming back the other way, turning around. It's a bit like a golf course.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it's well ridden too. If your horse needed experience on wedges and corners, this was their day.
Well, jumping the barn, the Terra Nova barn, which is a replica of the barns here. Jesse Phoenix and Freedom GS coming back to the water. I wasn't too keen on this step coming out of the water.
I'm not too keen on the step coming, out of the water as well, because it's so small for the level. And you see how the horses just don't see it; they just trip up a bit, and it's always a worry with a bank up that small that they might scissor it in front, meaning that they wouldn't get both front feet up, and once that happens, the recovery is very difficult.
So it's up to the riders in the water then, really, to make that decision and ride that step as if it were a place pole.
Yeah, I always say, whatever you do, don't look at the fence. Look at the bank up.
Yeah.
Only look at the bank.
Yeah.
Take everything else out of there and look at it like it's just something that's quite more in training rather than fire them in there for a competition.
Yeah. Well, Jenny Carras jumping beautifully through the two corners as she makes this spin round to the fallen log, following those fences. Summersby now is pricked and looking full of running. She didn't have to chase as much down through that combination as she did the first one.
That's a tight turn after that log, and the reason that the roping is there is so that it doesn't interfere with the other courses. But that does make it a little bit more difficult for horse and rider to make those very sharp turns on course at speed. You see, you've got another horse coming through. I think that was Sarah Kosemplik.
It was Sarah Kosemplik. Rock Phantom just going in the opposite direction. But Jenny, we're stay with her as she comes down to the water. In fact, we've now gone on to the last. This is the last two fences. 4-star had the choice of left or right here. Not quite sure why that was, but
I think the one on the right, they decided to add the lower level last fence because the one on the right was really blocked by branches from the tree and whatnot. So the riders suggested to the officials that they were able to jump that left-hand side.
Gotcha. Well, Jesse Phoenix, our trailblazer, is safely home. Great round for her with Freedom GS, and we'll get her time just as soon as we can.
I think she'll be very happy with that.
I think she'll be thrilled. I mean, first one round, no one knows because it's the first time we've had a 4-star here as well. This is Sarah Kosemplik with Rock Phantom up at the Oxer, and Rock Phantom just looking a little bit weary going down between the fences.
He's not really galloping, in a forward way. He's very slow. Ooh. And a little bit green there.
Yeah.
But she makes the distance. She's very experienced rider. She certainly knows what she is doing now. She looks like she's picking up the pace a bit.
Another one.
Yeah, she just took that clip out. That was unfortunate. That was a little bit more traditionally what happens. That's a big oxer. It doesn't look that big on the screen, but it's quite big and quite wide. And I call it meeting on the decrease. He just had another little peek at it and met it on the decrease and didn't have enough momentum for the back rail. So that's going to be very frustrating for her if she jumps the rest clear.
Yeah, second one out of the first 3 horses to have that back rail down on the Oxer as well. So Sarah Cosemplik, and she takes a different route. They're supposed to turn left and go through the strings, but she turns right.
Yeah, the right way is much faster and
Yeah.
much cleaner. You know, if you turn left, it's going back towards the stables, and then they're going to start drifting towards the stables. So, yeah, we advised. I have 2 riders in this section. I advised them both to go to the right.
Yeah, and it made much more sense. So Sarah Cosemplik and Rock Phantom coming up to this Oxer on the top of the bank, not making the same mistake twice. Gallops away from there. And the time in for Jessie Phoenix and Freedom GS, 10 minutes and 26 seconds. So 4 time penalties in 10:26. The optimum time is 10 minutes and 16 seconds. So just the 10 seconds over. That is our first home. So back with now Jenny Carras. Jenny,
I think that's a pretty good time then for
Very.
Jessie, because you know she didn't look like she was shifting it too much. So I would say it's quite capable to make the time.
I would tend to agree. Just not travelling forwards, is he still
No.
at
No, he's
either of
still
those
just-
wedges?
You know, this is the kind of horse, though, that there's enough questions out there that he'll get to the middle of his course and he'll decide if he's brave or not, you know, and improve as he goes on. See, like there, he's much braver to that corner, and he's out in front of her leg, and she'll be happy with that
Yeah.
combination. And she makes that right-hand turn. There's just a lot of turns out there, isn't there?
There is, and for a big horse like him, it's energy zapping. And Sarah, I mean, she's, as you say, she's a very experienced rider. She'll know exactly how to ride him. Meets that off of a forward
Yeah,
turn.
and she comes off of a turn to jump it and then has to land and come on another turn. And, you know, the riders and the horses are handling it great. I mean, what a pleasure to be able to be here on this property this weekend, and the weather couldn't be better.
Well, our latest starter is Madeline Scott and Crosby's Gold, but they've had a refusal at the ditch brush at 5
Oh,
and have
dear.
actually retired.
That is not where you want to come and do a second try at a big ditch with
No.
brush.
So they are sadly walking home.
That's a shame for her.
So Sarah Cosemplik, Rock Phantom at the first water. Got a big jump in him, this horse, by Spirit House.
Yeah.
And Clona Kilty Hero is the dam sire. They've had some pretty good form on the run up to this fall event. They won their last 4-star short start. I was lucky enough to be there at Bucart Farms just a few weeks ago in preparation for here.
And he's a nice 12-year-old, so he's got his future is certainly ahead of him. And, you know, Sarah's brought along so many horses. She's really experienced at bringing them up the levels. She does it with a lot of patience, and they reward her for it.
We're just waiting for her to appear through the trees. And here she comes. So Rock Phantom and Sarah Cosemplik just about to set up for this next combination fence. Sees her stride.
Yeah, you can see the horse just pecked a little bit and land in the middle of that water. It's interesting because the horses land on the slope, and then the slope finishes in the first stride. So I think that takes a little bit of footwork for the horse to recover from that.
And he's still travelling. He's not been one that's given us enormous amounts of enthusiasm the whole way around, but it's his way of going. And you know, all these horses, they have so many different types, and I think that's what makes 3-day eventing so exciting these days, is that there's not one God-given type that makes the perfect event horse. I mean, you've only got to look at your little fellow that was barely
Teddy.
14-3.
14-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was 14-1. It's crazy. I look back on that and think, what was I thinking? But he did do it easy. Yeah, she's giving him a great ride now. He's very much in the rhythm. He ate up that distance more than I think she expected. Got there a bit early. But you can see his ears are pricked now, and he's looking forward to his next jump. She will have really gotten a lot of experience from him over this course.
So just turning to the water on the return. A, B, C, D, all 4 elements. Pops
She's
in.
right there at the right time to encourage him. Now here's this bloody bank up, which is only about 2 foot high, I think. Now he really looks like he's in a great rhythm. She steps up the gallop a bit.
Yeah, shaving off valuable seconds, taking the tightest of lines, heading towards home. There's only a few fences left to jump. There's a couple of tables. In fact, they're all pretty wide fences coming home. Table, picnic table, barn. There's a V barn as well. And we'll see Sarah Kozemplic as she rounds this last turn, but away from the start. This is coming down to fence, trying to look up there. This is the gate and corner, or gates and triple rail, right down
Oh, that's lovely.
at the bottom of the bank. It is Shannon Lilly.
Yeah, this is Shannon.
And
Lilly.
Ideal HX. Dressage 39.8.
Another very experienced rider, and she, you can see that she's got a great rapport with this horse. Catches that right off a beautiful rhythm.
And then galloping alongside the road. They turn off of this road, and it's only a few strides. It comes up very quickly off the turn. But you've got to come down through the gears a little bit to
Yeah, yet another turn.
jump this oxer.
She's got a wonderful eye, though, doesn't she?
Yeah. So 2 of the 3 that we've seen have had that back rail of the oxer down coming up, but into the on a lovely loose rein as well as
Yeah.
they landed at the bottom of the bank, jump the ditch, and go sailing through there. Sarah Kozemplic, Rock Phantom at the final fence. So just jumping that last fence under the Forestier Saddlers archway, they go. Jenny Carras was home in 10 minutes and 50 seconds, so 13.6 time penalties she will pick up to complete on 51.0. That score just coming in for Sarah Kozemplic. Great round for her.
Yeah. And Shannon's still working away at the back part of the course here.
He's got a lovely uphill gallop, hasn't he?
It makes it nice to see her distance.
Yeah.
Because the horse is already in that natural balance.
3, 4, 5.
Perfect. Giving it a great ride.
Super through there. So Shannon Lilly, Ideal HX, Alex Lilly, who owns this lovely chestnut, now gallops on and towards this oxer on the top of the bank. Again, sees a lovely stride
Phew.
up there.
That's a super horse, huh?
Flying.
You can see it going in, in a great
Yeah.
career going forward.
Flying Ideal HX Airlines, I think. Flying out over that fence. So still waiting for that score to come in for Sarah Kozemplic and Rock Phantom. As Shannon coming down to now to the wedges. And then quickly on from the 2 wedges to the mini mound at 14A and 14B. 2 very big corners on the top of the bank, jumping right across the first, and then on the 4 strides
Yeah, it looks
to the
super.
second.
This horse was sourced and found by Caroline Martin. Caroline
Pamuchku.
Pumuchku. She knows I'm going to wreck her name until I say it enough. But yeah, so she sourced a lot of horses, and this one in particular she was really chuffed about.
So away from the root ball at 15, it's to the lifeguard water now at 16A and 16B. A really nice introduction, this first water, for the horses to get their feet wet before the second and third water, although it's technically the second, but they go through it twice. Just going in the opposite direction, Will Coleman and Diabolo. I had a chat with him about, was it Diabolo, and he said, Spenny, I don't know.
Diablo.
Well, we said that as well, but by Diarado, we decided that it should be Diabolo.
Okay.
So he said, right, we'll go with it then.
I have a Diarado, and I called him Invictus, so. Now, it should be, I suppose, I don't know, with my coaching the Mexicans, I want to go Diabolo.
Yeah, well, I think I've called it everything under the sun. Here he
maybe we should
comes.
find out his stable name and call him just by that.
Well, I did say that, and he just said, I don't know, we'll go
He doesn't
with...
have a stable name?
Well, he does have a stable name, but Will just said, just go with Diabolo because of Diarado. So we're gonna stick with that.
The Diarado's a lovely stallion, and he really stamps his horses. Most are dark bay or even black, and are uphill, and they have a beautiful gallop. Diarado, who stands at Schockelmüller's.
The beautiful horse this, and fabulous dressage as well, lying
Wow,
second
look at
after
that.
dressage on 34.0.
Well, you know that Will is not going to hang around, so his gallop looks a little bit more into the 4-star level pace than the others.
So
we'll see how he goes.
He turns round to this big oxer, and it is enormous walking up to it, and it's got a ditch underneath it.
Oh, he got a great
well.
shot, though.
Never going to touch the back rail.
And he went all the way down to the buckle, and it's taking him a couple strides to get his reins back. So he did turn left. Oh, no, he did turn right. But he did lose his rein. I taught him to put a knot in the end of his rein, so that didn't happen. What happened there?
Well, there's a question for later.
Will stayed with David and I for, God, over 10 years or so, I think it was, as a young rider, etc.
So on to the two oxers at the far end of the course. Will Coleman and this lovely horse by Diarado jumping well through there. Made it look very, very simple indeed. And Sarah Kozenplik is her score. Rock Phantom round in, well, it didn't look the fastest, 11 minutes and 26 seconds. So it was a minute and 10 seconds over the optimum time, incurring 28 time penalties and 11 for that frangible device being activated as well. Well, Will Coleman, Diabolo, still galloping on.
He's still galloping on, and he's having a great ride. And you see he's really picked up the pace.
Not in that picture. As it paused.
There's Shannon still working away.
Coming on to the tail end of the course now. She's had a fabulous round by all accords as well. On all accounts, coming up to this fence just behind. We don't quite see them jump it. It's just behind that pesky gazebo that got put up, I think, last minute. And then on towards the home, straight, Will Coleman, down at the two corners.
You know, Will has a fantastic way about him of being there when he needs to move the horse up, or in the case of the first corner, he just sat real quiet and let the horse wrap around that first corner. He's such a beautiful rider to watch.
Well, as he goes to the fallen stump, this tree on the turn.
Yeah, you really saw that off the corner.
It's one of those fences you've got to respect as well, isn't it? You can't just wing off the turn, and
yeah,
it's very easy to make a silly mistake there.
Absolutely.
Well, as Will goes between the fences, Matthew Brown is out on course with Alderwood. He is our latest starter. There he goes, in fact.
Yeah.
And here comes Will to the water. So big log in and then up to the little wedge.
See, he did that beautifully. In the nice quiet 4, which is what we had spoken about earlier, that they had the choice of doing the 3 or the 4. And you could tell before he even jumped in over the A element that he was looking for 4 strides. So he was very accurate there.
And looking very confident. Confidence breeds confidence. And as we all know, I was trained all those, or still am, still shouts at me now. Ginny Elliott, Gilly Lang Holgate that was, and she said, you know, the first few fences you put a few pounds in the in the kitty, a few dollars in the bank, because you might need to take them out a little bit later on in the course and give them a dollar or two just to say thanks very much for getting me out of trouble. Matthew Brown, Alderwood, coming down to the rail, ditch and corner.
Nice. Speaking of Ginny, I'll never forget my first Burley. We were hacking around together because, there's a lot of hacking going on in Burley because of the vast property. But I said, Ginny, when do you know if you have a Burley horse? And she says, Karen, you'll know on Monday morning. And she's quite right.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't say that it's a 5-star horse until it's done it, or
no. And Matthew is turning left.
Yeah, and they've really slipped their reins. The horses jump very high up in the air there.
So Matthew Brown going up to the far corner, back towards these two very big oxers on the related, another one on the related distance, but it's more rider onus, I think. Everything's getting thrown back at the riders. We can't go any wider, we can't go any narrower, we can't go any more technical than we are. So the course design is really making the riders think now.
In this particular course, there's a lot of brush, but I think Mark has been very generous with the scalloping of the brush than I've seen in the past, where it can be very, very narrow where they scallop the brush. Oh, a little buried under that one.
I just step out here for a minute while you come in. So Karen O'Connor, we're joined now by Sinead Maynard. I still want to say help in. But I'll hand you over to Sinead. We're going to try and find a third headset.
Thanks, Spencer. Yeah, I think the three of us in here could be a pretty good time. I apologize in advance.
Hi,
for those
Sinead. How are you
listening.
today?
Hi, Karen.
How's the nerve level? You've got Tick, your husband, coming in a few horses.
Yeah, I watching this, and it's riding great so far, is bringing my confidence higher and higher, and Tick is on a good horse, so
Yeah.
as most people at this level are. And that seems to be riding really well. I know there was a lot of talk about that.
There was a lot of talk about the angles and the placement of the flower pot and all that. So it's riding really well. They're seeing it and reading it well.
Yeah, it's hard from this angle to see how severe the line is there, but the horses are really seeing it. And the course seems to have that progressive flow. I mean, they do they see, 6 corners before that one.
Yeah. And then don't forget the other 60 that they're galloping past because there's so many jumps out there.
Yes,
That
exactly.
they're like, oh boy, there's another corner. Oh, there's another one.
I know, corners for days.
They have to go up and down those little mounds to get across the field. And there's a lot of roping to keep the two horses apart.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are out there walking their courses trying to make sure that they've got the lines. But the crew here on grounds have done a super job of really making sure to rope off places you shouldn't be going. So they are really trying to help these riders out.
And while Matt was making that line, we also saw the horse going the other way, and I believe that to be Sam Tinney. She's riding her nice bay horse, Cuddy Sark.
Matt making good work of this course. And the horses so
That
far
gives you a
today
really
have
good view of
seen,
it.
there's Cuddy.
Yep, there's Cuddy, which is actually a horse that's near and dear to you, right?
Yes. I produced Cuddy through to the advanced level and was so thrilled when Sam was in the position to take him over, and they have just done so well. And they've really put the time in. I mean, she really, super job there. She really took the time. He's a quirky Dutch horse.
He is quirky.
Yeah. But she's gotten to know him, and they've got a real partnership now. And he's definitely a partnership type horse. He's not one that you're just going to hop on and go and do right away. So gets a little underneath that.
Never mind. Whee! Looks like she was going for a very long one, and he just never saw it, poor thing.
A little too much change
Yeah, I
there.
think that it started back at the beginning of that exercise.
Yeah, it's, again, it's A, B, C. A affects B, affects C, and
Sure.
unfortunately it was just too big of a move on the way out for him to read the line.
Now she's got even a little bit more severity to the angle. Oh boy, he says, not today.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's such a shame.
You know,
What a
it's-
shame.
Once they you know, we've seen that time and time again, is that you kind of, as a horseman in that point of view, you risk running at that again and having a third run out and then kind of teaching the horse to run past it. It's better to go home and take care of that at home, where you can set it up a little bit easier for to make sure that the horse really understands it.
I say you have to be careful, because whatever you let them practice, they get very good at.
Yes, they are learning machines. You just have to make sure you're
Teaching
teaching
the
them
right
what
things.
you want. So we've got Matt here. Horse looking a little tired, but I think this horse does naturally run a little bit low, so that's you know, that's not a
And
not a
and when
testament.
they do gallop low, you have to allow. You can't fight between the jumps, saying, "Well, you don't have an uphill gallop." You know, they have to conserve their energy by letting them be who they are.
Absolutely, and that's, you know, you see like Piggy March. She's that Vamira Carroll
Yes,
horse,
right.
runs, you know, runs quite downhill, and she just doesn't argue with her, and the horse respects her and listens when she comes back up. And Matt knows this horse well and is making a again just a
I'm
nice
not.
work around the
I've
course.
said it before already today, but I'm not a big fan of this bank up, because it's so low for the level. They're handling it really well so far. But I think it's because I did have a fall going up a bank in a championship competition.
Well, to be fair, a couple years ago they had that on a turn, and I think there were 2 or 3 progressive falls. The horses really didn't have a chance to study it. Across that water, there's 7 or 8 strides, and I think the riders have enough time to make sure the horse sees it, they study it, and get a good shot. Whereas when it came off the turn, they did.
Yeah,
There were
and
a
that's
couple
what
falls.
happened to me. It was off return.
So we can see that's the end of the course right there. And I mean, just such an awesome venue. We're so excited to have this 4-star long for another option on our calendar at the end of the year. You know, it's been a wild weather season, so I think sometimes people had plans to go previous places earlier in the season and just couldn't get the runs in. And it's so awesome to be able to be down here at 75 degrees at sunny weather, and you know, the beach 20 minutes away.
And as I don't know about that, but as you say, they've gotten a second opportunity in the East Coast to do a 4-star long, which
Yeah.
is means that the sport is growing all the time. This looks like Emma
Yep, Emma
Klugman. And she's an example of that. She couldn't quite get the mare Bronte to Morven, so here she's driven all the way down from Maryland to be here for her first time.
Yep, we've got Matt coming to the last fence there, and he'll be thrilled to have that done. Yeah, and they just do such a thoughtful job here. It's a great place. I've brought national horses here so I can take advantage of the atmosphere. There's tons of rings. There's so much going on, but they, you know, for the dressage, they let you school in all the arenas. They really set it up for success if you take advantage of it in the right way.
Well, there's no question. And what a facility.
Oh my gosh. Emma has a super shot there.
She's a very accomplished cross-country rider. She had that lovely horse she rode for years and years and years. And he, you know, I think if you're going to, you know, get to the upper levels at some point early in your career, you've got to have a really cool, courageous horse.
Yeah.
That kind of shows you how simple it can be.
So she bows out and does the 5.
Yeah, I talked to her early about that, and she thought the 5 was suitable for Bronte.
Just give you that extra option. You just wonder there if, you know, Sam with Cuddy had that in her back pocket, if it would have been a little clearer. Because it was interesting, when I walked that line, I actually thought the advanced line was a little harder.
Yeah, I thought so too. So we do have, just to keep you up on the scores, Will Coleman had 2.8 time faults. That puts him in the lead handily. And then Shannon Lilly, she was 3.2 with 43. And then Matt Brown's moved up into third he had 8 time faults, and he's on a 46.8.
So pretty fast track, because I thought Will was moving, but he certainly took time and made sure his horse saw some things. So I think we'll see someone get inside the time.
I think Emma, she loves to go fast, so we'll see how she goes, how she gets along. We don't have a clock on the start, but I do have the minute markers, but we could certainly do from the first minute on and see how they're doing on those minute markers.
Good job there, making sure that Bronte Beach sees that second corner. Again, Mark's been creative up there. He's given them an option, but honestly, the option is just to kind of get you home if you have a problem. It's a fairly straightforward set of corners for horses at this level, but it does, again, progressively get you ready for those tricky double corners at the end of the course. And that seems to be jumping well. There was tons of talk about where the placement, it's hard to tell from here, but the placement of that oxer is right on the end of a bank. So the horses really are wrapping around and traveling down the backside of that. But there was a lot of concern that they were going to take that back rail down.
As I said, Emma looks like she's opening up the throttle a bit there to try to get as close to the time as possible.
We'll see as she comes. So do you think she's going in the 3 or the 4 here at this water? Have we seen anyone do the 3?
I think that she was talking about 4, but you know,
we're not there yet. I'm ahead of myself.
but she is Aussie, so she might change her mind at the last minute and say, well, there it is. And we're back again, still watching Emma. She's at the fallen log. You know, these logs, they came off the hurricane. That was the Fort Myers hurricane, but this is only, 40 miles north of there. And the damage was unbelievable.
Yeah.
They were able to pull off the event a year ago, and there was a lot of destruction.
Don't know what's going on here, but Alec was stood there trying to stop her.
Oh.
So just keep an eye.
And she's coming to the water now.
Definitely slowing down for the
Yeah, she's on the,
ad.
she's definitely on the 4. That was well ridden in the end because she got a little bit unseated on the way in. The horse jumped off to the right, a little bit losing energy. Then she picked it right up, so that was quite good. Is that slow motion, fast motion, or no motion?
I think there's a little.
What is, little buffering going on?
Can you hear me? Here's sound.
Now,
We've got Jessie Phoenix here on course.
again.
Yes. She's already been around this track once.
Look how big this horse is.
Such a big horse, but she's produced this horse up the level. Another GS ride for her. She's had several that she's produced through 4 and 5 star. Oh, gets a little deep there.
Come on, make it happen.
Oh,
Whoa.
and that's Jessie, she can dig deep. We've all seen her do that before. She is one of the classiest cross-country riders, but if she needs to, they're getting between the flags.
Yeah, she can get a little.
It doesn't matter if they're trotting, cantering, trantering. She looks all smiles, but she is fierce. We're showing a little greenness, so it'll be interesting. Yeah.
Whoa. But it's got a lot of scope, so she didn't mind it all there. That's great.
I think she'll be happy to have these 2 corners, get the horse back thinking
Look how
straight
big
and
it is.
organized.
I mean, look at the depth of his girth below her boot.
I know. That's where it's so cool because it just takes scope and heart, right? I mean, it doesn't
And size
matter.
and shape does not matter,
No.
as we all know. It looks like she's having to really set him up there.
Lucky there, ends up in the 6. And you can see that this horse is so big, and when she goes to slow him down, he kind of twists a little left and right.
All the parts come.
Yeah. But genuine as the day is long. I mean, doesn't look like he is even remotely thinking about not going through the flags. The face is so nice. She comes to this oxer, just wraps around and runs down the hill, and it's just really impressive. You know, it's got to be a wild thing for these course designers. Obviously, Captain Mark Phillips has so much experience, but you know, you put something out like that, and you get a lot of feedback from the riders, and nobody knows how it's going to jump, and you really don't know how it's going to jump until the first horses go out there, and these horses are so incredible.
There's Emma, just finishing the water. It looks like she got away with it, but it looked like it had a funny, funny finish. And now she's got to come up to the first of a whole series of tables to get to the finish.
Yeah, and you know, it's sometimes it's tricky here on these tracks that actually don't have a ton of terrain.
Yeah.
Because when the horses get tired, there's nothing to keep them responsible.
Well, and they get tired quick, don't they? Because their foot is always hitting at the same angle. And then, of course, there's the turns. We know that profile.
Yeah, got Buck out on course. Just jumping the alligator fence there at 4, and they'll come around to that massive ditch brush at 5.
Which they've had it for all the levels, for the height and width of each level, and it's caused trouble each time. We were saying, Spencer and I were saying that at this level, though, you wouldn't expect the horses to back off of the ditch and wall too much. You can see it right there. Well, that's the last fence.
Yeah.
That doesn't look like a ditch wall.
No, that last fence is placed.
We have.
Oh no, we've got Jesse Phoenix.
Whoa! Look at Buck.
It's giving Buck a good strong half
That's
fault.
it. Yeah, he needed that half fault.
You've
What
got,
happened to
It
Jess?
looks like Alec out there trying to figure out to go after the horse or the rider or what to do here. But Buck
And what
is
to do with Buck?
such a professional.
He won't. He doesn't care. He'll slow down for the horse and circle around it or whatever. He doesn't matter.
Yes. And he will head out into this backfield. So hopefully
Oh,
they'll be
he's
able
got a
to
nice trot, that horse.
catch Watson GS, and we'll get news to you right away as soon as we hear about
That's
Jesse.
Emma finishing. We'll get you her time just as soon as we have it.
She looked quite quick. So.
Yeah. And certainly we know the fastest time to be Will Coleman with 2.8, I think it is.
We've got Buck out on Errol Goby, a horse he's ridden for years and years, has been at the
How old
advanced
is this
level
horse
for
now?
quite, I know, quite, it's 2010.
13.
And so the big horse is 16 3-hand Holsteiner. It is owned by Carl and Cassandra Siegel, who have been super owners and supporters for Buck forever, and Natalie Sandler and Lisa Darden from Unionville, Pennsylvania. So hopefully they're here on the grounds or watching from at home with this wonderful live stream that's been provided by Terra Nova. Just another one of the amenities here. It looks like we might, you can see all of the jumps. I mean, they have starter through 4-star. Can
It's
you
just
believe
crazy.
that?
Yeah. They're just everywhere. It's
And it's
kind of like a pinball machine.
yeah, I was trying to hustle around and walk a couple of my courses, my national courses together, and honestly, I got so confused, I just went back to the barn.
Well, and then you have to figure out the black flags and the
Yes.
options.
Exactly. But you can see our crew out there, and you see the big crane. That's for the live stream, I believe. And it's so neat when you're walking out around the course, there's actually all these little wires out there keeping the hog and the wildlife off of the track.
Well, there are a lot of wild hogs, and they've got it all fenced off. So we're back at the, it looks like the back at the warm-up, or
We've
is that the
got
first
Caroline,
fence? And we
Mooch
did
too.
hear that Jesse fell at the second of the two corners.
So that might be the first trouble we've had there, as we've got Caroline. You know, I thought that second fence was actually quite tricky, because normally at this, with the horses being this fit and this open, that you get a few good galloping fences, and that's a
Right.
very small fence with kind of a funny profile for your second jump, really making the
Yeah, it
riders
really is
not
weird.
kick into a gear yet.
So we have the time up for Emma, and she's on 5.2, so that puts her at 42.3, just ahead of Shannon Lilly, who's sitting on a 43. So the show jumping tomorrow could be quite influential for those two.
Yeah.
Well
and-
done, though, Emma. That was a great ride.
Yeah, and I think Word will, I mean, if anybody's going to go for the time, it's going to be Caroline, because I do think it's gettable. Emma was traveling quite a bit, but she did add in a few places.
Yeah.
And, it's definitely there for the taking, as we see. I think that's Buck out in the distance. Yep. As he comes around, he's switching his stick, making sure he has got his line ready for his double corners as he slow motion gallops.
I didn't know that horse could gallop that slow.
It has tons of suspension and step. And we'll get a shot over of him.
They may be pulling him up. I don't know. Have to wait and see.
You know, and all these guys are out there making sure that there's, you know, there are no holes, that the footing stays pristine and perfect, and as similar as it can for each rider. And so you've got all your volunteers out there and your jump judges saying, you know, we need some fill here to make sure that this ground is good. As we see Caroline galloping out into this field, I think
She
this
looks
is-
quick.
Yeah, and she'd just be coming up to this upright rail, 4 strides down to the skinny wide oxer.
And it is a mound. You have to come up the hill, and then it goes right down. And she's very economical about that.
Yeah, and then we have
And here
Buck
comes
coming
Buck,
back
and
in.
it's interesting with the time when we see Caroline leaving and Buck coming, and it looks like Buck is also trying to go as quick as he can. So we got that crossing. We'll see how that works later on in the class.
Ooh, he
Whoa!
goes for the 3.
That is why the 3 is pretty far out there.
You know, but it's so interesting watching these riders negotiate this, because you just can't do it halfway.
No.
You either have to really slow
No.
down and get the 4, or you have to be super committed.
I said, if you do 4, that's fine. Just don't break the trot.
Just don't do a 3.5, because that's kind of how that type of shape, what that fence is going to promote,
Yeah.
is that 3.5. You got to make a decision. So we've got Caroline here.
It's quite an impressive look with that horse's face, isn't it?
It is another one of her HSH horses, owned by Sherry Martin and Resources LLC out of Springtown, Pennsylvania. Caroline, one of our Pan Am team medalists. She won the gold medal just a few weeks ago.
Individual gold and team silver.
So she has had a busy season. I'm sure she will be, well, she's not going to be thinking about a vacation right now. She's going to be thinking about the next jump.
Yeah, she's thinking right there about balance.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, right the way we need it.
Another shot of Buck. Horse still looks full of running, and he's well over halfway through.
Nice shot in. Oh, nice. Huh. It's unusual to see that. You know, encouraging him with the stick on the shoulder twice.
Yeah. And I think here they have a little loop back here. It might be a place for them just to take a breath.
Yeah.
And then they the horses do get to turn and go back towards home. So that does tend to give them a little bit more of a regroup.
Definitely helps.
So we haven't seen much of this back part of the course. As Buck is still working to get him set up.
I think they send him all the way down there just to make the distance for the 4-star long. This is a funny shaped jump. It's jumped by 2 other levels, and so you know, you have to make sure that your horse is seeing which one he's going to do. The horse drifting left, and then he drifted right before, so he's just getting the horse to settle. Yeah, they all look a little tired.
No, they get
he's not the first to look tired.
Yeah. I mean, this is their big championships. It's the end of the year, right? They've probably got, I don't know, a minute and a half, 2 minutes left. So he's really kind of trying to make sure he stays on his feet and pays attention up over that little bounce rail.
Caroline has fallen at the second quarter at 11.
It sounds like Caroline has had a fall at the second of the corners at 11, and we will get word to you as soon as we have it about Caroline and her horse, but we will not be seeing her. It will not be her day. It is a real shame.
I'm curious what happened. You know.
Whoa!
My goodness. What happened there?
That was that collapsible table there.
But that's not Bruce.
No. This is Mia Brondel.
Right.
So that's, again, there's so much safety technology out here, and we didn't get to see
you
the shot.
You don't see that very often.
No. I'm glad. I bet she's glad that fell down.
It is. Glad we saw it. It is a tribute to the amount of effort that's gone into the Friendville technology. Had that not fallen, it would have been a very different day for her.
Yeah, so it's all happening here. You know, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because a lot of the beginning riders had multiple horses, and now and this tends to be where it starts, people are jumping around, you've got your pros, and then we get some issues here in the middle.
The people that are early to the level or whatever.
Or the horse is green. And
yes.
Mia has really done a super job. She's ridden with some great riders, and I believe she's now based with Liz Halliday. And has produced this horse from a young horse, so it's just a really neat story. So I'm glad she's carrying on, and it was a little mistake, but they don't look any worse for the wear, thankfully, due to our team. Oh my goodness, she just almost got run into by the staff going to fix the fence.
Good grief. That has happened before.
More hurry, less speed.
I'll never forget David colliding at Buccolo with a car. Horse flipped right over the top of the car.
My God.
Unbelievable.
And so here she comes around to this big oxer.
That was a good shot.
Yes, he's a really nice. And you know, it's hard to that is such a wide, narrow oxer. Like from left to right, it's narrow. From back to front, it's super wide.
And it's a little bit narrow, the front face of it, so it makes it look wider and taller.
It's a little deep there, and we've seen that, but, you know, and then the horses are staring straight into the ditch, but hopefully she's out across over the corner there as we wait to get word in on Caroline. There we've got this is just such a beautiful horse. It's just a big, black, stunning animal, as you see it.
Do we have the breeding of this horse?
It is a Dutch warm blood. It's 17 years old.
Oh, it is. So it's an older
Yes,
guy.
It is an older horse.
Well,
And
I don't-
so nice for Mia to be able to have had her career with this horse and
Yeah.
her first experiences at the top level with such a good partner.
She's had him a while.
Really nice stamp, really uphill, real galloper.
He sure is beautiful horse. And, he's kind of reminds me of an old stamp of when we had the long format, the long format.
The long. Mia originally from North Carolina.
Wow, he's just so beautiful.
Easy 5 there.
Where's she now based? At Liz's, you said. So there, I guess they came down from Kentucky.
It looks chilly out there, but it's about 80 degrees.
Yeah, it's very, very muggy.
It is.
I
It is
wonder
very
at the
much
end of the day
Florida.
how much frangible technology was activated today at all the levels.
That would be something interesting. I think, when this event started, that was a big statement that they were going to use as much of the safety technology as they possibly could. And I think they've really set the stage for that. And, safety and the horse's welfare and rider's welfare is paramount. And you see that here through and through. It's keeping our guys on the ground pretty busy. But we probably have less negative things happening because of it. So we've got Mia here.
We're still following her. I think she's the only one on course at the moment.
Yeah, I believe so.
Because they pass, she's got to go back and do yeah. And then we'll see who the next rider is.
And that really, every time I've seen it, it's just riding really, really well. Which, actually, unfortunately, I believe that is where Jessie had her fall, but we did not see that.
Right.
But we've
And then
really
the
seen
pin as
horses
well
pick it up.
on
Mia kind of has this right turn back over this natural log, a hurricane log. It's very good about using our Floridian natural resources.
yeah, as they were handed to you on a silver platter
Yes.
in the lake that we had, that they poor people they had here. I mean, it was completely flooded.
Yeah.
And the hundreds of trees that went down.
Yeah. But again, a huge testament to the crew here. They've just put on such an awesome
Well,
show. And
you can see the crane that's right behind, in the field there. That's just one of, I don't even know how many hundreds of toys they have here to make this all work. And she's on the 4, so that worked very well for her.
yeah, I think this horse is he's really beautiful and uphill. He doesn't actually have the longest stride. You can see she still really actually had to move up
Yeah,
and work for
yeah.
the 4 there a bit.
He's got a lot of posture, though, doesn't he?
Yes.
He's very sort of regal looking.
Yeah. As we pan across, they've obviously got that that titch.
I wonder how they get that. Okay, everybody, 1, 2, 3, let's put this wall back
Here
up.
they are. You see
There's
the
Mark.
captain there. So that's I'm sure why we haven't seen another rider
Right,
of course,
right.
because they are reconstructing
I don't think they
this.
expected that to happen.
No. You can see this. I think there's like 7,000 acres here. There's so much property. This was originally a set to be a housing development. I still think that's in the works. I think that there's a property here, and there's such an amazing main barn that I think if you wanted to move to the area, you could keep the horse there, have a house here, and this could be your view every day. As we've got Mia coming into this second to last field, heading into her first trip through this water.
The real estate is one of the big parts of the development. Oh, he's backing up. Wow, he didn't want any part of that.
Interesting.
Wow.
I mean, he
just didn't say no. He said,
that when you watch something like that, you think that there's something
Doesn't
where the
look
horse
like
is,
she wants to come again at all.
No, I think she's
Not
felt
much left
something
there.
with him that the lights have kind of gone out there a little bit. So whether he got a little tired or something was going on that we missed, but he just looks like he's
Had enough for one day.
yes. He did not look like he was looking.
You
even
think
at
about it, you
that
got to
jump.
come back through the water a second time. You get all those tables at the end.
And she's already been through the water once. She's already jumped a log exactly like that. So
Yeah.
you kind of think at that moment the
And
horse.
he
maybe just
trotted
needed
and
time.
walked to it.
Yeah.
She probably felt like she was pretty useless up there.
Yeah, she's like
Kick it like a
the-
pony, but it wasn't going anywhere.
No,
Poor thing.
no, that is
No.
too bad.
She had a
So-
great ride up until there.
It is all happening here at Terra Nova. If you're at home watching on TV, get in your car, come out. It's a beautiful day. There's coffee and shopping, and honestly, there's a place here that has donuts. That's the best donut I have ever had in my entire life.
They have a food truck that sells live, Maine lobster.
Really? Oh, yes. I actually saw some of the kids, Ellie and Alex O'Neill's daughter, and the Frederick son having lobster macaroni and cheese. And
Isn't
I
that
thought,
fun?
isn't that lovely? My kid has craft. But it's an awesome place. It's such a cool venue. So come on out and see us. There's plenty of jumping left this afternoon. We've got the show jumping going on in the main arena. I believe we've got a concert this afternoon.
Well, at 3 o'clock, you've got Meet the Minis. So today, before our concert that you're talking about with John Diaz and Tim Boyd, you can actually visit the paddock of the Tiny Town to meet the newest members of the Terra Nova Equine Learning Program. And you listen to their unique stories and learn where their favorite scratchy spots are. So I think there's some little minis that are ready to be loved by any and all.
It's really neat. Our kids signed up for it was a mini horsemanship group, and I think Charlie Coleman and Brooks Maynard were over there learning how to groom their ponies and all of that. So they've really thought of everything here. It's just such an awesome event. And we were talking earlier that, in a perfect world, and I'm going to put this out to maybe the calendar gods, I don't know, but it would be so neat to have a double weekend where you have your national classes one week and you stay here for the week. You maybe have some jumper shows mid-week and then your international the next weekend.
I mean, you're spot on. I couldn't agree more. It's a lot to put so many levels on such a small, cross-country available land at the moment. And, if you had back-to-back weekends, it could be incredible.
Epic. It would be such a great way to wrap up the season too. And Split Rock comes here and has their show jumping tour, so they've got plenty of rings. They're very used to that. So midweek, you could really make a whole destination.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out of it would be really cool. So I'm putting that out there.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Everyone on the calendar committee right now is rolling their eyes at me.
Oh God, here they go again. Get those two split apart.
Exactly.
And the calendar is very difficult. In the East Coast in particular, because there's so much desire to compete, and now there's so many places that have stepped up to give really good competitions.
Yes, absolutely.
Really amazing competitions. But there are only so many weekends. But they came into this problem in England, and they started to run during the week. And that's become incredibly popular.
Yeah, and that actually, we did some of that. I think we had a Tuesday down in Florida, which was wildly, it was...
Rocking Horse,
Rocking Horse. It was a Tuesday modified and above, and it was great.
You had a couple hundred horses, and it was great.
Yeah, so I think...
And that's in the summer season. It's still summer sort of here.
Yeah, it is very much still summer here. But I think having options is great, and I think the argument is that we don't want to divide the field so much. We still want the competition level to be really high. We want these classes to be big. So,
well, one thing for sure, you can't run two things back to back if they're upper levels. The horses, the riders can't do it with the same horse.
All right, so we're back going again, and we've got Melissa Booten on Obeah Dancer GS, our second GS horse, Tricaner, 2012 mare. And this horse is really lovely. I watched this horse a bit last year. And it really seems to have all three phases. It can do a good dressage test. Maybe it didn't have the best day yesterday. It can jump very, very well and be very brave cross country. Another one for Team Canada's up-and-coming crew. They've had so much success lately. Yeah, boy, I was so happy to be down in Chile for the Pan American Games, and I got a chance to work with Mexico, but to watch the fight to the bitter end between the U.S. and Canada for the team gold and silver was really remarkable. Well, I think having Rebecca Howard step in there, and they've got some really great people working to redo Team Canada. You mean Rebecca Howard, your best friend? I know her well. But they've got such a great attitude, and they just put their heads down and went to work. And she's really so professional and quiet about it, and she inspires so much confidence in those guys. Yeah, but to watch that to the end, and then you see these young horses coming up through, they're starting to get the same kind of depth that the U.S. has, and that's really wonderful. They've got some events. Bromont is such a great sort of competition in the calendar for the last, I don't know how many decades. Well, they're really looking at that. Yeah, got pretty deep to that one. I think it's a lot to do with the short turn. Yeah.
it comes up quick on the course, and then you've got a short turn to it. And so I think it's really important that they give the horses a lot of room so they can see it.
Yeah, and again, the first part of the course doesn't have tons of flow. There's a nice big first fence, and then the second one's kind of off a turn, the third one's kind of off a turn, the fourth one's kind of small, and then you have a massive ditch wall. So I think the horses that are careful just get a little backed off, but then they get to get galloping here and set things right.
You can see this one's careful because his ears are pricked from 20 strides out. He's like, okay, that's my jump. Got it. Oh, I see it. Okay.
So cute.
Oh, he's adorable.
Yeah.
He has that face and the coloring and everything that he could be 14 hands or 17 too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just he's just a nugget, isn't he, for such a big horse?
Yeah.
Oh, she's going to get a lot of attention on the live stream today because she's the only one out there.
Yes, yes. Well, you know, the crew here as well, they sent a team of Canadians over to Europe as well, I believe, and had some experience on that side. So they really are trying to set the stage so that they can, over the next few years, start to become a real player, which is, and catch up. You know, like, I mean, the United States has had such great momentum lately, and it's really starts to get deep over there, but he's so careful. But, it, you know, for all of us here, you know, a rising tide raises all ships. So getting more experience, more things, more competitive horse and rider combinations is just going to make the whole sport level up.
So we have to have a rising tides.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got to bring them up. Got
I
to
think
raise them up.
they experienced that in the hurricane.
They got to lower them down. No, maybe raise the land up.
They did actually raise the land in those first two fields. Did you hear about that? Yeah, I mean, like a foot or two.
Yeah, and it's wild. Most of these fields have irrigation as well, and they put a lot of irrigation underneath some of the fields in the paddocks near the main barn. I mean, it's just madness what they can do.
It is remarkable. That's a great picture.
It's really nice.
But you can see the fence line. If you look
Yeah.
closely, you can see the fence line around the perimeter of the woods there, and that's to keep the wild pigs from getting out there. Isn't that funny?
Well, there's been a few mornings I've gone out for early morning runs, and I'll tell you,
You can hear the grunting.
I've just gotten myself a little freaked out. I've brought my dog with me a couple times. Because
Well, I don't know if that's
I'm
a good
not
thing or
sure-
not.
I'm not sure. I have a big dog.
Oh.
I'm not sure what's going to come out of those woods. As we have our next starter out on course here, we've got
Melissa.
Aaron Strider and Live and Learn. This is another mare, it looks like. Irish sport horse. Aaron from Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Boy, that's a cold place in the winter.
Yes.
Thank goodness for Florida because I used to do clinics in Ann Arbor, Kalamazoo, and like I said, it's really cold in the winter, and now you don't have to do that because everybody comes to Florida.
Yeah. We've got a pan
There's your
over to the
great picture of the warm-up.
Yeah. You know, they've done a super job. I remember the first couple of times I came here to compete the warm-up with a little small and a little squish, and they've really opened it up. You have every single fence you could want out in the warm-up, and some that you don't, some that you would never jump in warm-up because they're too big.
That's funny.
But it's really great to get these guys set up as we're back here with Melissa. Oh, my goodness.
Get ready.
It just gallops right over the top of
Whoa,
that.
Nelly.
You know, and it's so funny. Some of these horses, you know, they're a bit green. He's looking a little tired, but just when you have that partnership and you've had this horse for a long time, you know, he keeps trying. He seems very, very genuine. She's staying tough. She's going to have to do a little bit of work here.
Just looks like his footwork's getting a little bit slowed down on her.
Yeah.
Be a good time to send him forward.
Yeah.
Wakey, wakey.
She added a stride into that distance there, and now she's
He looks tired. Why are all these horses looking so tired?
No.
Is it? Do you think? I mean, it's flat ground. Usually, you would, expect horses to get tired on undulating ground or. Whoa, Nelly.
All right, she's going to need to.
Yeah,
get
because he's
going.
kind of losing his shape a bit.
Yes.
She needs to start kicking and pulling.
Professional advice.
Exactly.
Yeah, you could see that even a little in the beginning. Maybe he didn't quite come out on his A game today where he just got a little low and deep to the ditch wall, and that seems to be his thing. He drops a little behind her, and then she ends up a little underneath the jumps, and then his confidence gets backed off.
Yeah,
So.
the spark is a little bit gone. So here we are at the second water.
Ooh,
Wow.
Just
I
really
wasn't
using
sure
all
if he
his
was
scope.
leaving the ground there or not. I'm going to put in that extra step.
Yeah. So she's gonna have to just take care of him for the rest of the loop. She's got one more loop out in the backfield as we're back to Erin and live and learn as she comes to this big oxer. Past
Take
the
that
ground,
easy.
wraps around it.
Yeah.
She runs up the hill to this coffin, which is a frangible, but I won't say it yet.
You already did. Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, we have not seen that. Nice ride there. Step really opens up. You know, it's interesting. You know, we've seen a few riders get a little deep and a little underneath that, I think, in an effort to really set them up for it. Sometimes we just end up adding one too many and getting a little careful. But they've got enough time on the backside to get organized for the corner. She gallops out across the
It's
field.
funny. The roping is usually for the crowds. This roping is to keep you from running into other horses.
Yes. Yeah, to keep you on the line. But, you know, we've seen that before. Remember at Kentucky a year or two ago,
Yeah.
I think we had a couple riders that were in the 4 short takeoff on the 5 track,
Yeah.
the 5-star track.
Yeah.
So it really can be, I mean, a field is a field is a field. It can all kind of blend
This horse has
together.
a very nice gallop. So I don't know how fast she's really going over the whole track, but she's sitting on a 42.8, so she could move up considerably if she's in the time or close to the time.
Yeah, we're still looking for that double clear. And I think next out we do have our leader in the clubhouse, Lucienne Bellissimo. So she is a very good, very fast rider, and she's on a thoroughbred Tricaner. So we'll
Has
see
plenty
if
of
we
blood.
can do that. Yep. And Erin's horse still looks full of running. Just pats the ground and wraps around.
Yeah,
It's just jumping super.
and it looks, you know, just like you said, full of gas. The tank is still full.
A little breeze picking up out there, which would be nice. It is just getting a little muggy. But that won't surprise anybody here. It is Florida. I'm not sure. Oh, you know, that's where it's still
Yeah.
just like a field. I'm not sure what the next jump is. Adds a little step there. Really
Yeah.
efficient little horse, can really open up the step and add
And
that
yet-
little nippy
and
step in.
you look at something like that, and the horse has to put in that nippy step, but they have to want to get to the other side on that line because that opened the door. She knows him very well, so it was not an issue at all. But on one that's not so brave like that, he's still on his line. He stays on his line. He loves his job. He's digging the fact that he's going cross country, and so they have that margin of error that is much bigger than a horse that, say, is questioning himself all the time, all the way through.
Yeah. I believe she's had this horse at the level for, I want to say, a couple years
Yeah,
now.
well,
And it
he
shows.
definitely
Knows the job.
knows the job. I love his expression.
We've got all our ground jury out there watching, making sure that everything's riding the way that they'd hoped. Making sure everybody's feeling safe. You see Lucienne in the background starting her
Yeah,
course.
so she's
Clear and easy through fence 5 on the backside there. Surely going to go for the 4 strides here.
I would have thought so. Well, that was actually really well ridden. There's a little moment there where she's like, I could do it. No, I'm going to say it.
Yeah, you saw that actually with the corner at the coffin earlier. The horse went from quite a small step and then just bounded into
Yeah.
this massive stride, which is kind of cool to have those options. It just sometimes isn't awesome because you have too many options. We've got Lucienne coming
Yeah,
around to the big
Lucienne.
oxer.
Yeah, and she's the overnight leader. She's sitting on a 31.5.
And she'll know that Will was actually quite quick with 2.8 time penalties. And when you're in the lead of the 4-star, you're not going to give that away easy. You know, this isn't a qualifying event. This is the event. Good ride there.
I talked to her earlier in the day. I think she's really keen to, try to take a cut at this. So
Oh, yeah. She's got a really great string of horses and has been quite competitive on the scene and kind of been waiting for her to have her breakthrough moment. And
yeah, right.
this could definitely be could be her weekend.
There we go.
It's such a big oxer.
Yeah. Oh, it's really far out there.
Yes, I mean you see that they can't even get the horses turned for another 6 or 7 strides. The momentum, jet trajectory out the backside, and she's really galloping along here to these
Course
corners.
is riding really well. I mean, okay, it's had here and there, but nothing consistent. And I think that the biggest thing here is now riding very carefully, but also just who can make the time, who's going to get in there.
Yeah, and that's where I think at this level, Mark has been clever about places that he can give you options. But when you're out there, sometimes if you're not going for the win, you end up adding a stride here, or drifting out here, or not really taking a cut at it. You got to be on it the whole way because.
Yeah, it's funny because in a section like this, you can say, well, my dressage was a 37 or 34 or whatever, and I'm not really in it. So, but then if you finish on that
Whoa.
score, that horse is Scope B.
Yes, she got halfway down that hill, but she is really flying.
Yeah, I think it's great.
It's a really beautiful horse. I believe she is based down in Wellington, or I'm sure we'll be heading to Wellington from here if she's not already down there. Thinking. She comes into these big wedges. It's 5 steps down. Super shot there. And I think we have word in that Aaron Strader has had a fall at fence 20. And we will get news to you as soon as we hear it.
Yeah, fence 20 is the 20 AB that Mogi's, Terra Nova water. So I'm not really sure what happened there. That was the first time you go through the water to get down to the back of the course over the big log.
So we'll stay with Lucienne as she comes around to this big cutout log, hurricane log, and she'll nip back right.
Boy, he's really giving her a great ride, isn't he?
Yeah. And another horse that we've seen kind of be able to quickly adjust and add a step here or leave a step there, and without changing his balance and actually making it incredibly quick. And just ears pricked looking for the fences. And when you don't have to set up that balance, if it's already naturally there, you can be so fast.
That's right. Yeah, the fastest, there we have a horse going away. That must
Heather
be
Gillette,
Heather
I believe.
Gillette. Yeah, I always say it's the horse that has the fewest footprints on the course, which has to do with how you navigate. And then it's the horse that can balance without slowing down.
Yeah. And this has just been,
And he's just like that. He's in both cases. He's just great horse. It was produced by a friend of hers in England up to the 2-star level, and then she took him on from there.
Well, she's having a super class round. I would say her and Coleman so far have had the rounds of the day for me.
Well, isn't it funny that they're
fighting for the lead.
They're fighting for the lead.
And we've got Heather Gillette and her longtime partner Vincent Chase out on course, this full thoroughbred horse. It's been fun with Heather. She has, she wasn't sure she was going to get back to this level. She had a wonderful horse called Pickle Road, and then she's had 1 or 2 up at this top, and she wasn't sure she was going to get back to it until she met this horse. And she's got a ton of followers. She really gives back a lot to the sport.
Yeah, the horse of Lucien's, I knew it was a friend of hers, but the friend is Hannah Bates, that's right. And she used to school, to work with Hannah as well. Whoa, Nelly.
Yeah. You just see her trip there on the landing, and you just wonder if there was a little something there that they'll run in there and check the...
William Foxpit rode this horse.
No.
Heather Gillette's horse.
Not Heather's, Lucien's. Heather's. Heather's.
Yeah, at
My mistake.
When she came over, he rode the horse at the Aiken
That's right.
Showcase.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm just going to shut up now.
Impossible. And we've got Lucienne. Horse still looking great. This horse looking one of the best we've seen on this back half of the course. Still tons of running. As she comes back to this water, she's got to come through this water for the last time. Then we've got a couple big tables, but you're starting to smell home at this point.
What does home smell like?
Well, it depends on what home you live in.
on whether you burned the food or not.
Yeah, exactly. If you leave the shoes inside or outside.
Smelly shoes.
She
is really coming on a good, fast rhythm, though. I mean, she's obviously out for the win. Nice. Now watch out for this bank. Don't trip. That's a good shot.
Yeah, adds a step across the water really neatly through there.
Oh, gone. That's when you start to see the riders' bodies moving.
It's still super gallop. I mean, what a combination. This
Yeah.
is really, really exciting for her. Really
It's
exciting.
a little bit of a shame that she's got a GBR on next to her name, though.
Well, maybe that'll change.
It could do.
I think she could definitely see
Here's
herself
Heather.
to America. As we've got pick up Vincent Chase on the backside of the track here. Heather, a dressage judge. She also does a lot for Strides for Equality and really gives back to the sport quite a bit. And it's just so fun to see her and this horse back at the level.
Yeah, she's a busy girl. Whoa. Come on. Riding forward.
You know, but that when you get a good thoroughbred, they just try so hard.
Yeah,
It
they
doesn't
do.
even matter. You know,
He's like, all right, give it. Let me have it.
I can use all 6 of my legs. It's fine.
Lucienne coming into the last.
No, she's on a 31.5.
Come on. Faster, faster.
And Will is on a
Let's see.
36.1. So it's all going to come down to time.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think
she's
done
happy.
it. Yeah, I think she's done it.
She's happy.
And I mean, a picture perfect ride.
It was a beautiful ride.
Every bit deserves to be at the top of the leaderboard right there. It was really, really beautiful. And you know, the interesting thing for these horses is coming here is that a lot of them are going to be thinking about a 5-star in the spring. A lot of them are going to be having Paris in the back of their mind. You know, we've got horses here that were intentionally bought for Paris. So it's an exciting field, and it will be very exciting to see Lucienne tomorrow, and very exciting to see where her and that horse are next year.
I think the show jumping record is quite good on this horse, isn't it?
I would be surprised watching it out there. It is really knows where its legs are, really knows where the jumps are. So we're back with Heather. Her horse still full of running, and it always has a conversation. Vincent always has something to say. And we have got the time in. What is the time we've got?
3.2 on time for her. It puts her at a 34.7, so she has just over 2-point lead.
Oh, and we
Oh, no.
see Heather has pulled up here. I'm not sure if she's lost a shoe or something that's happened. She's definitely looking down, checking something did not feel right to her.
The flag is down on the yellow bench. What to do.
Well, tomorrow will be very exciting with not a pole in hand between Lucienne and Will. And again, both of them would be quite good show jumpers. And now we have Elisa
Oh,
turning circles. We're not sure why yet. Oh,
she's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
What happened there?
It's all happening out here, and we
That
don't
was
know what it is.
early enough in the course.
Yes, so that is unfortunate for her. And again, we will get you news when we know what it is. We'll give you the news when we know the news. I bet her dad is texting you now.
Could be.
He'll let us know. Well, so we're sorry we didn't see that. Oh, and there is Tick.
Whoa, easy. Okay, so that's Tick Maynard at the second fence. And so I'll probably have to do a little bit of the commentary because I think that she didn't push any. She's got a frog in her throat right now. She can't talk.
Oh.
And there goes the helmet again. He
What
lost it, the helmet cover. He lost it at Tryon. And I picked it up for him. I gave it to him today, and I almost got him a racing rubber band
Yeah.
for it.
Somebody's got to take care of him.
Who dresses that boy?
I know.
Yeah, he's got a nice gallop going.
We haven't seen this part of the course. We see Heather walking home there. That's too bad. She
That's
called
a
it a
shame.
day. So we've got 2 heading home and just Tick out on the course with SKM Lux Sonata.
And yeah, these next 2 riders are near and dear to me. I work with both Tick and Mary Bess is coming in behind him. So I'm just as hopeful as you are, Sinead, about this round.
Setting up for fence 4. And Sam is, you know, he's knock on wood. This has been his first season at the advanced level. He's been quite good. He's quite a good cross-country horse. But this is his first 4-star long. This horse owned by the Ace Syndicate. And,
Oh, gosh.
he
That
is a little ditchy.
That was well ridden because Tick's a very strong rider when he needs to be, and he kept that horse on the line, thank goodness. And now he's flying. He's like, go on.
So we've got
We heard from
word
where
in
Elise-
that Lisa had one run out at 9C and then she retired. So saving that for another day. So we will hopefully be able to stay here with Tick and Sam, as he's known in the barn. Sets up for a fence.
Great setup. Just a little support off the ground. He looks great.
And it's really nice. Sam was previously campaigned by a lovely girl that we unfortunately lost, Sky Davidson, and her grandfather is out today watching.
Oh, he's here today. That's fabulous.
Yeah, so he's out there.
That's wonderful. That
to
was a
see
very
Sam.
tragic, sad story, but Tick took the ride over, and I remember working with this horse with Tick. How long ago was it then? 2 years?
Couple of years, yeah.
And he has produced this horse just in a magnificent way. Who'd have ever thought?
Just trying to get him organized, coming around to this big.
Good
there we
boy.
go. Still can't do a bloody flying change, even out on the
No,
cross country.
no, no.
And
He doesn't like to think about that.
no. He sets up for his coffin.
Good boy. And not ditchy there.
No, he just. It's
That
just
was
a ditch
great
wall.
ride. Tick picked that distance up immediately. I talked to him about, after when he lands after the jump, not to just drop and send, to send the horse back into the contact so that it's he learns how to, take the contact, and make his gallop longer. And that darn Canadian flag next to his name. When we talk about the depth of Canada, and he's at the top of that list, as he's coming along as a very, very talented rider. And I'm sure that all the Canadian selectors got their eye on him.
So we saw him back in the back with that big, massive oxer, and here he'll come to the two corners, back part of the course.
Oh, wow.
Super easy.
That was class.
Yeah.
You see the brush behind the cross-country course. That's what this entire property looked like. I mean, it's amazing what they've been able to do with this land.
Yes. Up the hill to this big oxer. Ooh,
Oh, yeah.
off the end. Super.
He's getting such a great eye at speed now. It's really fun to watch.
Well, and it's interesting how these horses start here. They're so fit, and this horse tends to be on a ton of adrenaline in the beginning of the track, and it's quite actually a little bit difficult to steer. And now he's just in the game and galloping nice and straight. Where in the beginning, he was kind of all over the place, but here he's on which is a pleasant place to be when you're
On task.
tackling a massive four-star.
Coming into this four-strided combination. Oh, we got the skinnies first. Here we go. And then that nice 5 strides down to the other skinny. He's riding great. Aw.
And we've got kind of this shot of one of the back fields.
Yeah, that's useful.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
Well, Sinead's husband is on course. Just saying.
It's okay.
Anything, anywhere.
Yeah, and we know he's kind of headed down to those big
There we are.
brushes. So obviously, I'm assuming he did them as he comes around to the cutout tree.
The nice trio. He gets a great jump there.
He does jump that quite well because not all of them are jumping that well. I'm not sure.
Go
why.
on, Tick. Go on. Go on. Go on. That was a flying change. Did you see that?
He can do it.
He can.
Sandy Phillips, he can do it.
It was clean.
Right to left.
Here he comes.
And we
That was
see
Mary Beth
is
going the other
back.
way. She looked quite quick there.
I'll be interested to see what
I
Tick
know, I'm
does
so
here.
nervous with these two riders on course at the same time.
He was
Well, he's on orders to do 4.
nice job. Super.
Boy,
It's right to the end of the
what
race.
a ride, huh?
Yeah, super job.
I don't know what his hand was doing up there,
He's
but
just waving to the crowd.
Hi, everybody.
He was just to the massive crowds out there, just for the picture.
There's Bess. Oh. Mary Beth Davis, she's riding. This is a lovely, lovely horse.
Imperial Magic.
Imperial Magic.
Is it really only 15.3?
Mm-hmm, he's teeny.
Tiny little thing.
His stable name is McCall. And Mary
Wow,
Beth's
beautiful.
Mary Beth's had a terrible fall in the spring at Carolina, and fractured her neck. That was the bad news. The good news was I got to train the horse for 3 months.
Oh my.
And what a pleasure, what a privilege that was. It's a jumping machine, and now his flat work's really getting better, so it's all ahead of her. Oh, we
Tick.
missed that.
Sam's still looking
Perky
full of running here.
coming to the
hopefully.
water.
It's the wonderful
Good.
cross-country Lux horses. There's been several.
Oh, he's just doing great. Nice with the hand. Just reassure him, and
You know, you can see Sam a little bit going, home's back
wherever
that way.
yeah. Over here, Dad.
Yeah.
Like he's, parking an airplane over here.
I think we have got a great group of owners in this syndicate, and some of them are here, and not all of them can make it. So shout out to those watching from at home. We could not do it without
Guy's grandfather still own a part.
He's involved, yeah.
Yeah.
But we could not do it without our owners and sponsors and our crew back at home taking care of all the horses while we're
Everything.
out here. It is definitely a village.
Oh, jeez, he's having a great ride. Looks like he's honkering down on the time. You saw that from a long way off.
He's got a very good eye.
You saw that from 8 out.
And so this water will be, we walked this several times.
Yeah.
Oh!
Come on, Tick. Come on. Watch the step. Watch the step. Did he hit that frangible pin?
Yeah,
think so.
The rail came down, so that was unfortunate.
How did that happen? I think the horse stopped his form when he saw the drop in.
Yeah, he just didn't quite clear it with the
Oh,
front
what a
end, so
shame.
That's, again, some more frangible technology there.
Yet another one. Ugh.
So too bad, but very thankful still for that technology.
So he's got 3 more to jump.
As we've got Mary Beth on the.
And she looks like we talked about how fast she wanted to go, because she's really developed after her accident. Started slow, and now she wanted to be competitive today. So
The horse looks full of running.
yeah.
So we've got Tick hopefully coming around to these last few jumps. You can see that they've even provided pens there for the horses that you can kind of put your name on if you want to turn the horses out during the week that you're here.
And I think as Tick finishes and maybe Mary Beth finishes, I'm going to hand the headphones back to Spencer to finish up the division. Here he comes now to the last.
Oh, it's such a shame about that, because Sam still looks full of running. I'll be very interested to see his time. You know,
Yeah.
this morning I said, do you know your minute markers? And he said, no. And I said, what?
Why not?
I know. I'm like, you go and you get this done. And
He's not chasing at the finish. That's interesting.
no. He last thing he said was like, I've got my minutes. I've got my minute markers. I said, if he feels good, you go. There's our crew right there.
Yeah.
You know, Tick's going to get himself undone pretty quickly, get out and get the girls to take care of him. It's so awesome. It's a pit crew down there. We've got Tick going to take a breath. So too bad about that, but he'll be excited to have that.
Bessie's over the tricaner and coming across the field, and now makes her way to the log into the water. This water jump is right in front of the VIP, so everybody's watching quite carefully. And through the water and up over the little cabin.
What a great little horse.
Oh.
I mean, this is super little. I mean, just light on the feet and still
He-
really traveling.
He'll go anywhere. I mean, he's such a cool dude.
Well, and
Sourced by Mike Winter over in England.
With a 36.7, I mean, it's everything to play for. If
Sure.
she makes the time, she'll go into second place.
And I mean, touch wood, he hasn't had a rail in like over 3 years.
So we see.
Yeah, so Tick was 1 second over, wasn't he? Oh, 10.4 time. And
And the 11.
and the 11. He pings. So soft in the air.
I know. I mean, and that is the thing, is that these little horses, you know, they're going to be lighter. They're going to be easier on themselves. And especially when, you know, Mary Beth is a small girl. So when you kind of have that, you can really get fast and get going and really use very little of the horse up.
Good boy.
Oh, come on.
Oh, see what I mean?
Ooh, yeah.
It makes me so nervous those steps up. Now she's going.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's see what this
that
time is.
horse was very, very clever. Just held
He
its
can hold the
yeah,
leg
he's like,
up
I'm just
and-
going to keep my legs up
Yeah,
here.
it looks like a
until
marionette over there.
the ground comes back to me.
It's a remarkable feeling jumping this horse. It's a bit like how I felt when I had Teddy. There isn't anything you don't think he can do. Lisa Marie Ferguson is now starting out on her Honor Me. How old is this horse now? It's got to be 25.
2006. He is a
17, does that
so
make
he's
him?
getting up there.
Well, I've enjoyed the division, but I think that it's in proper order for Spencer to finish out the division with you.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Good to see you, Karen.
Thank you very much.
Maybe go spend some time with my husband and make sure he's okay. As we switch our mics over and welcome Spencer back in.
And thank you very much for having me, Spencer.
Yeah, thank you very much to Karen O'Connor. What a brilliant hour, and I think it's probably 3. But brilliant to have the experience and the knowledge of not just Karen, but the ladies that come in, and Sinead, another of them. I was laughing all day yesterday. I missed you for the dressage because I kept using Bettina's.
I feel pretty.
I feel pretty.
You just should feel pretty when you go into the arena. Well,
And I think
Spencer,
I got it wrong, and it's been annoying me because I said it was from the holiday, and it was actually from Love Actually. I look pretty, and it was. I just still laugh. So anyway, but going back to the serious stuff, Lisa Marie Ferguson and the 17-year-old Honor Me. I mean, he has been brilliant in the dressage. Watching him, you know, just looks fantastic, and it's testament. You said it's a village. It really is to keep these horses going. And this horse, I mean, what a beautiful mare she is as well. She was super in the dressage. Didn't quite get the mark she wanted. She was a little bit tight and tense in a couple of the changes. But Fluorescent Adolescent, this is a 15-year-old piebald mare with Jessie Phoenix. 3rd ride in the 4-star. And she just looked like a real keen bean in the dressage, and she looks the same across country.
I know. I've been watching this horse for a couple of years now, and it's just always, you know, it's always so surprising, and then it just keeps stepping up and stepping up. And obviously, great to see Jessie after we didn't hear about her fall earlier, what happened there, but great to see her back out and across the country as we have Mary Bess Davis's time in. She has 3.6 to add, so she's on a 40.3, which slots her up into 3rd place. So again, things looking very tight at the top as Fluorescent Adolescent flies into the woods.
Yeah, she certainly does. It was interesting watching, just watching, standing behind you guys, watching the horses. But Tick, when he came to, a little bit like Lucienne Bellissimo, when she came up to that oxer on the mound, Lucienne saw a stride from, I don't know, probably from the local airport away. And Tick the same. He saw. But what was really interesting is the way that Tremanton landed and the way that Tick's horse landed literally on the top of the bank travelling, whereas Lucienne's jumped right out. And I think it's really clever horses that land economically like that and keep travelling.
Yeah, it's amazing what these horses can read.
Yeah.
So we'll see Jessie as she wraps around that, and you can see her basically Pony just patted the ground on the backside. But you walk up to it and, you know, we're having these conversations. Well, they're going to read that there's a drop on the backside, but they really do.
Yeah,
They can tell the change of terrain. They're so clever.
But also a lot of it's to do with whatever the rider's indicating to them as well. They're setting them up. They're not just, apart from Lucien and Tick that did gallop at it from miles away.
But it's also knowing your horse.
Yeah.
You know, it's knowing. This is such a big horse. He just steps into that water, no issue apart, no energy wasted. Another rider for Canada. So we've got Team Canada out there between Lisa Marie and Jessie.
It's amazing how well that step has jumped. I said to Karen in the at the beginning of the 4-star, I really didn't like it at all. It's so small and insignificant when you're bouncing up a step like that to a rail. You know, horses are looking at the rail and not really taking any regard for the step that's below. The riders have really got to make sure that they get that step.
They get it right. Yeah, absolutely.
Or just galloping between fences in slow-mo, in fast-mo, in any mode
Pony
that
mo.
goes, is Jessie Phoenix and her third and final ride. I think this is her sixth and final ride because she had 3 horses in the 3-star as well, and 3 horses in the 4-star. So she's going away from that turning log and then coming back towards the water for the first time, and we've seen 1 go through on the 3 strides.
Yeah,
Majority have gone on the 4, which has been much the safer way. But they've jumped in really well and perfect. But just as we were saying, you know, those sort of fences, they're quite low and flat.
Yeah.
And they do encourage that. You know, Buck was lucky to jump and get away with that. And there was also another stride in there if that horse wanted to, Errol Goby. But they do encourage that sort of that sort of plain jump, don't they?
Yeah, and I think it's just really knowing your horse, because you can tell when the riders were jumping that first one if they were planning to do the 3 or the 4. You just have to make the decision, and the 3 is definitely risky. And as Jenny Carras is out on course and really lengthening her horse out there for the 4 across. And Jenny, another very fast rider.
And very busy rider. She's had a number of horses as well. But yes, she is very fast, and she'll be wanting a quick round with this horse. It's a horse that's had a very good dressage, 34.9 in equal 3rd place after the first phase, and 34.7 is leading. As long as she doesn't hit too many fences like that, we might get her home and inside the time.
Cheeky. Spence is feeling cheeky. One would say she got a little deep to that one, but sharpen him up a little bit for these corners.
Absolutely. Well, as she goes up to this double of corners, Jenny with trendy Fernhill. Fernhill, the prefix of a lot of all of Carol G's horses. And there have been a lot of Fernhill horses on the circuit for a number of years now. And this, another Irish bred, coming away from those corners. Swish of the tail. We always thought, and we go back, this is going to show my age now, but going back to the days of King Boris, who used to gallop cross-country with his tail like a helicopter propulsion. He also did the dressage exactly the same way. And it used to be deemed as a bit of a resistance, or the horses weren't very happy, but it was just his way of going. And I think that is this horse's way of going as well.
Yeah, and she's really flying. It's probably giving her literally a bit of a tailwind as she comes into this next field. But she knows if she comes inside the time that she will move into 2nd place.
Yeah.
And there is everything to play for here.
Well, Onami has just completed 11.6 time penalties, and the 17-year-old for Canada goes into 10th place on 51.2. So that is a very, very good score for Lisa Marie Ferguson. Onami really doesn't owe her anything. Flying the first corner. And then had to really hold for the second.
Well, it looks like Jenny knows this horse very well, and it seems that this horse goes on a longer step. It's very brave, and where the only place we saw a little mistake was when she went to compress the horse to the base a little bit. So she knows the best way to ride this horse is forward and going, and she's committed to that.
At this fallen tree. And the riders have got to respect that, haven't they, off the turn? I mean, it's a pretty simple fence, but it needs the respect.
Absolutely, and she is flying. So we've got our last two on course right now with Jenny and Jessie. So if Jenny doesn't do it, we're not going to have anyone inside the time. So
Yeah.
I think it's possible.
You think Jenny's on for it?
Which I think if anybody can do it.
Yeah.
I think we've
I
been-
honestly thought that having watched Will Coleman go round with Diabolo and then watching Lucienne looked like she was cruising around
That's
that
true.
course, but actually came home with 3.2 time, and Will was faster than her. And it doesn't, as Karen was saying, it's the horse with the least footprints on the floor. But you know, looking at them, it did look like she was faster than he. But they're just finishing. Great round. It is Fluorescent Adolescent, the 15-year-old mare. Another good round for Jessie.
It looks
Phoenix.
great, right? Just still
I
cantering.
know.
Could go now. Put on a kit on it and send it out on the starter course. Looks super.
That's testament to the ground. You were talking about the irrigation. We just saw there, going away from the start, from the finish, the irrigation, the water systems that they've got in, but also the drainage that they've got in all around the course as well. It is quite something.
Well, and you know, we're always working on that because sometimes no matter what, we're a victim to the weather and victim to the ground. But here they've really set it up where they can manufacture it as best as possible so that the horses have the best footing to head out there.
Would you believe it? Jessie Phoenix and Fluorescent Adolescent, the coloured mare, the fastest of the day so far, 2.4 time
No
penalties.
way.
Yeah.
I can believe it actually because everything about that combination is unbelievable. So
Yeah.
everything I've seen thus far.
Yeah.
And it is her third time around. She knows the track.
That's
she
right.
knows she's confident in it, right?
I mean, how anybody knows one track from another, and when you're riding more than one track round here, I mean, that's a job and a half, as Jenny Carras. Now, Jenny, this could be, you think, one that could go inside the time.
I think if he stays fit and running, I think she's really been flying. So as long as we don't see the
Frangible
yeah,
go.
we don't see the frangible and we don't see the tank empty, and it looks great this far.
Yeah, it really does. So Trendy Fernhill coming towards the final water, back through the water for the second time of asking at this one. Bowled in. Sets up for this tiny step
Super
bounce.
shot. Now keep going.
Yeah.
Right, she's going for it.
Lands and away. She's on 4 this time, that's for sure. 10 minutes, 16 seconds. The fastest of the day is the 15-year-old Fluorescent Adolescent.
So she's got this combination we haven't seen a lot of. It's just a big table to a narrow table, and then a few big jumps to get you home.
We should see her jump those final few fences. That is the view. She will appear from the right-hand corner of your screen. Now, this horse by Ars Vivendi cruising on the Dam Sire side. So the speed is in there, that's for sure. The stamina is in there, that's for sure, from the cruising side. Ars Vivendi putting that lovely bit of quality in there as well as she comes towards the last 2 fences.
Yep, and again we see all the impromptu paddocks there for the horses that are here for the week for their little vacation time if they need it in between, so they're not cooped up in the stall. Every little detail thought about here by the crew at Terra Nova, and we're so grateful to be here and so grateful for them, and their efforts have come to such fruition. And this is our last rider on the inaugural 4-star long at Terra Nova for the fall.
Yeah.
And as we see her coming around to this last 2 jumps.
It's been a massive task for them all, actually, but it has been an amazing showcase. It is a hidden gem here, isn't it?
It really is fantastic, and she has done it. She has finished. We'll wait to see what her time is as our final rider on Mark Phillips' first 4-star long at Terra Nova.
Well, she's done it, and she looked almost done in. She looked like she'd really...
She's got her hand up in the air.
Pushed for that optimum time, 10 minutes and 16 seconds. We won't have to wait too long.
Ooh.
Oh, she is done in.
She is done. Always love it when the camera stays on that moment. It's always super awkward.
Yeah. Who says that Jenny Carras did not try around there?
The horse is fine, but Jenny had a fall.
Yeah. She is exhausted.
She's giggling. Thinks that that is too.
I wonder if she knows the cameras are on her. The time is in. And 16 seconds inside the time.
That's it. She did it.
Wow.
Look at that.
I mean, there's only one inside. Leslie Law, congratulations.
Leslie Law, Julie Richards.
Yeah. I mean, one inside, but not just inside. 16 seconds inside.
But that horse, it just did look like you're either on or you're off that horse. It looked like there was not. Whenever she tried to slow down and take a check, it didn't go well, so she just kept going. So it's like, do what works. And so that's so exciting for her. She moves into second place. Right behind Lucianne.
0.2, not even a time fault in the show jumping. That is going to be make for some brilliant viewing tomorrow. We'll bring you all those times. If you don't stay with us to the end of the program, do check the official website, terranovaequestrian.com, and you can see all of the times for the 1, 2, 3, and 4 star, and we will be live streaming all of that tomorrow as well. What a day. What a day so far. We've still got more to come. We've got the advanced, we've got the 1 star, and the open intermediates as well still to come.
It is just unbelievable. And this season has just been this way. I mean, this level of sport is so exciting, and the cream really does rise to the top. And we've got some amazing horses for now, for the future. We've got a great young crew up at the top. Well, I'd like to say they're young because they're around my age. But a super, super day. And, I think this is one of the final tracks Mark will be doing here. So I'm sure he'll be thrilled with the way that this 4-star wrapped up.
It is his first and it is his last, unfortunately, Captain Mark Phillips, because next year it will be Alec Lahore who takes over as cross-country course designer. He is the 3-star technical delegate this year. He's been out having a wander around the course, getting some ideas for next year, and there's so many plans. There's opening up more land for this spectacular event, and it truly is a wonderful, wonderful venue. Well, we had tears in Maryland. Who knows what might happen tomorrow in the show jumping. But for now, Sinead, thank you so much. It's been brilliant having both yourself and Karen on the commentary, and we will wish you well. You've got rides this afternoon.
Couple horses in National. Hopefully nothing this exciting.
Okay.
Hopefully it'll be just very boring.
We'll be watching you. Are you in the OI?
No, I've got cross country tomorrow. My horses already jumped this morning, so we'll be back checking on the horses back in the barn and seeing how everybody is, and look to tomorrow excitedly.
We wish you the very best of luck for tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get you back in here again for some more commentary.
You can't keep me out.
So let's have a look at that leaderboard after the cross country, and it's all changed, but no change for our overnight leader. Lucianne Bellissimo stays at the top with Tremanton on 34.7. Rising up from third to second, Jenny Carras and Trendy Fernhill on 34.9. In third, second, down to third, it is Will Coleman and Diabolo on 36.8. From 6th up to 4th is Mary Bess Davis and Imperial Magic on 40.3. 5th, 10th into 5th is Emma Klugman for Australia, Bronte Beach, 42.3. 6th, Shannon Lilly, Ideal HX. 7th, Jessica Phoenix and Fluorescent Adolescent. In 8th place, Buck Davison, Errol Goby. 9th is Matthew Brown, Alderwood. And 10th, Jessica Phoenix and Freedom GS, rounding out our top 10. There they are on your screen. They are the top 10, not one fence separating the top 2 riders. So that is going, in fact, that wasn't quite right, that leaderboard. Jenny Carras has gone into second on that leaderboard. We'll try and get that corrected for you with Trendy Fernhill, 34.9.2, separating our top 2 riders. There is, that's not quite the right scores, but you get the idea. They are the right placings. But the scores are 34.7 for Lucianne Bellissimo, 34.9 for Jennifer Carras, Jenny and Trendy Fernhill. So there is only 0.2 separating. I know in the 2-star there is one fence separating the top 12. So it could come from anywhere in the 2-star as well. It is all to play for. We are back. There are the correct scores. There they are. Great Britain lead, Lucien Bellissimo, 34.7. Jenny Carras second, 34.9. And Will Coleman Diabolo in third, 36.8. Quite honestly, the show jumping, it always plays its part. It could be anybody's for the taking. And Mark, who is our wonderful course designer in the show jumping, well, he always sets a very, very tough track indeed. We are back with more cross-country action at, in fact, we should be away very soon because the advanced is about to start. That should be underway. It might even be underway with 3 riders. Then there is a break before the 1 star. But 3 riders in the advanced, Waylon Roberts, Nilsson Moreira de Silva and Morgan Huberg. So do stay with us. We'll wait for a horse. You don't have to listen to me for much longer. We'll have a little break and we'll be back when we see a horse out there on the cross country.